Saxon Algebra 2, Lesson 45. This is a very practical and useful, specific and focused lesson. I think you'll enjoy it. It's very to the point. And also to the point, I'd like to remind you that this is Lesson 45. We are at the beginning of week 13, which is the last week before the midterm and then our Christmas break. Hallelujah. So this week will be normal. We'll have one last review problem, one last video check-in for the students who do that with me. Then on the following Monday, I'll give you a video review that will tell you which lessons to study. It will remind you of the formulas you need to know, topics to remember. I will go through, I'll create that list on this video. And then on Wednesday, I will give you a 24-hour period. I'll drop off the test to you just like we've done it in the past, and there will be a 24 window in which you finish it, and then I'll come pick it up and grade it. Same rules as always. You will be allowed, if there's a test on trig functions that requires you to use a calculator, I will let you use a calculator, but I'll be very specific about where you can and where you don't need to. Make sure you memorize your formulas because you know I'm going to be after you to show me those formulas on your test. I'm going to be super tough about it this year because this is Algebra 2. We're getting to the big leagues here, and I'm going to insist that you show me your formulas and your work really carefully. Okay, if you are a student who has found me on YouTube and you're interested, if you would like to get a copy of the midterm that I wrote, it's 10 problems taken straight out of the homework that cover the topics we've been studying most recently. Hit me up email me either, my email address is on my About page on YouTube, you can find it there, or, you know, if your mom wants to find me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I'm there, and you can reach out to me and ask for a copy of the test. I'll send it to you in a PDF. Okay, lesson 45, difference of two squares. Now, when we have, see, here's a difference of two squares problem, right? Except it doesn't look like one because we have a perfect square and a perfect square, but they're on opposite sides. We're used to seeing them more like this, aren't we? And then we know, oh, we can factor this because a squared minus b squared factors into a plus b, a minus b quantities. The minus can be in either position. The plus can be in either position. It doesn't matter. We're multiplying. As long as you have one of each, you're good. So we use this to factor this, and we say, oh, it's going to be x plus 2, right? Because that's the square and that's the square, times x minus 2 equals 0. And then we can say, okay, if this is true, then either x plus 2 equals 0 or x minus 2 equals 0. And then we do quick algebra and we say x equals minus 2 or x equals positive 2. And that's our answer. What we're going to do is we're going to, it's not really much to learn, but we're going to practice in this lesson saying, forget about all this. We know it's true. We're going to go straight from this to this, which is going to be the answer, except we're going to say, oh, if x squared equals 4, then x equals plus or minus 2. We're just going to slap that answer right down. It's the same as this, you can see. This is just written in a slightly different style. This is a little more concise. We're going to learn that we can just kind of cover all of this in our head. We call it the difference of two squares theorem, which is kind of a fussy name. But basically when we see this, we're going to go, oh yeah, we could write all of this, but instead we're just going to go boom, plus or minus 2. The trick is to remember that it's plus and minus. Both of those numbers are part of the answer. Very often students will get things wrong here because they assume the answer to this is just positive 2. That's only half the answer. So we have to remember the negative part of it. All right, how is this going to look in a problem, you ask? Well, let me show you two quick examples, and then I'm going to send you on your merry way for the day. 45.1, solve. I write it down, and I think you'll agree with me that the left side is completely out of control. That's ridiculous, right? We don't want anything to do with that. That's disgusting. This right side is just an innocent little 2 minding its own business. And don't you wish you could be his friend? He's just so chill, right? So we've got to do something to get this under wraps here. We're squaring it. Well, I don't want to square it. That's disgusting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square root. That'll cancel it out, right? Those two are inverse operations. Just like adding and subtracting are inverse, just like multiplying and dividing. I'm talking with my hand so much and you just don't even get to see. I'm like this. Raising to a power of 2 and taking a square root are inverse operations. They cancel each other out. That's really great news. However, we have to do the same thing over here, and we have to recognize that it's plus or minus, right? So this is going to be x plus 17 equals plus or minus the square root of 2. We go to plus or minus just like we went to plus or minus here, right? When we're taking the square root, we have to consider both positives and negatives. That's probably the hardest part of this problem. Then we just subtract 17 from both sides, and we'll get that the answer to this is x equals minus 17 plus or minus the square root of los dos. Just throwing a little Spanish in there for you. I found out that I have a YouTube student who found me and is following along, I believe in Algebra 1, but she's from Colombia, so she speaks Spanish. She obviously speaks English too. But I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't it be cool if I could teach a lesson of algebra in Spanish? It would blow everyone else's minds and be completely counterproductive, but wouldn't that be cool? I don't think I can speak Spanish kind of, sort of. I'm not fluent, but I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough so that sometimes when I have contractors who speak Spanish in my home, sometimes they'll be speaking Spanish to each other, and I have actually joined in their conversation, not realizing they don't know that I know enough Spanish to be dangerous, and so they think they're talking in private, and then I enter their conversation and they're like, what did the white lady just say? I know, it's funny. Okay, 45.2. It's funny in my world. Sorry, that's the best I've got. Okay, ready? Solve. John wants us to solve. That tells me there must be an equal sign in here somewhere. We'll see. X plus 2 over 5, quantity squared. Okay, we know what we're going to want to do there. Equals 3. Again, this innocent little 3 and this audacious mess over here. We want to get rid of the square, so we say let's take the square root. As soon as I take the square root, I recognize it's got to be plus and minus. I can't forget that, but I'm going to rewrite this side first. X plus 2 over 5 equals plus or minus square root of 3. I'm writing this really distinctly just so you can get used to it, but remember that the easy way to write it is just like that. Okay? I'm still making them separate just so you get used to it. Now we have almost fixed this side, but look, we've thrown all the drama over to the right side, haven't we? But we're going to throw more. We have to give this over. Subtract 2/5 from both sides. That cancels, and we get x equals minus 2 over 5 plus or minus square root of 3. Disgusting, but satisfying in a strange way. Remember that whenever we use this plus minus sign, we're representing 2 different solutions, 2 different numbers, because this, we're saying x is equal to minus 2 over 5 plus square root of 3, or x is equal to minus 2 over 5 minus the square root of 3. All right, that is all I've got for you on the difference of 2 squares theorem. Remember, this is a shortcut that allows us to take something like this, and instead of playing it all out with our difference of 2 squares formula, we just jump straight to that. All right? Yay! Lesson 45 is done. Thank you, goodbye.